Hi, my name is Jason Wells and I'm one of the founders of Viginti Media. I want to offer you a free website analysis. And the reason why we do this, I'll just be frank. When we sit down with people and discuss these 5 critical areas, which cover 21 key points, it gives us business because people realize their websites need help and they realize we know what we're talking about so we can help them. Now, the first thing I want to cover with you is the legal aspect of your website. And this is really oftentimes an overlooked area, but this is something you need to cover nowadays. You don't want to get in trouble with your local attorney general in your state. You don't want to violate federal law. And on a more deeper level, you don't want to violate the key advertising platforms such as Google, Yahoo, and other companies. It doesn't do any good to create a website and have it not show up in the search engines. Or worse yet, it does you no good to create a website where you're getting phone calls and legal letters from your attorney general or letters from the federal government because you're innocently violating rules. That is not a place to be. And this is one of the things that is missed when websites are created because most web designers don't focus on these issues because they really don't understand them. What makes me unique in our company is I used to run a law firm, I have a legal background, and I understand these areas even before I got into marketing and web design and media design. Now obviously the next part is design, and just a few areas just to cover real quick on analysis of your website. Is it HD? What I mean is HD television compared to standard definition television. That's the best analogy because most of us have grown so accustomed to HD TV that we expect it. Well, web design is getting to be the same way. If your website is looking standard definition, not HD, you're losing people these days. People expect a certain amount of design and professionalism in websites now. It used to be you could just throw a website out there and it was no big deal. If you could get on top of the search engines, people would come to you and you'd get business. That's really changing these days. It's not that way. The other thing we want to look at is, does your website work on all computers? Your website may work on your computer, but you would be surprised how often we see websites that don't work across a lot of the browser platforms, which are the software devices on each computer that actually display the website. So if people have different browsers and your website isn't designed for those older browsers or even across all the new browsers, you would be surprised how often, how ugly websites look on one computer and look fine in another. We can provide a report showing you how your website stacks up against those browsers. In addition, load time. Load time's a real issue. Nowadays, with high-speed internet, people expect websites to load quickly. If your website doesn't load quickly because you have some load time problems, people are going to click away. Mobile devices are becoming a new and quickly growing area for business, particularly in the local markets. So if you're targeting your local area, people are using mobile devices even more. These are all things we're going to look at on the design aspect of this analysis. Navigation. What does that mean? Well, whenever you click on links on the website, typically the navigation across the top is what people often think of as navigation. And you might think, well, what's the big deal here? That's pretty simple. You would be surprised. How you title your navigation can play into how well your website navigates to the end user. If your website seems confusing or doesn't work right or seems just doesn't to not flow, so it's easy to use, but they click on something and it goes to a page that's unexpected based on the label of the navigation, that can play into a user's experience and it could cause them to click away from your website. You're losing business. Maybe your website's just confusing in the way it's laid out. Navigation sounds simple, but it's actually one of the three main areas that Google looks at to determine whether your website is valid or not. That's critical. Content, another big area that the search engines such as Google look at. But more importantly, the biggest mistake I see, and I see this with our clients, is we work with them to get content because only they know about their business. So I need them to tell me about their business, and then we need to write it up. What I find most web designers do is they say, look, I need something with about you, I need this, I need that, I need this on your homepage, tell me these things, and they put exactly what the client says. The problem is most clients don't have a marketing background and really don't know how to word the content in a way that speaks to the end user. Our job as web designers is to be marketers. And one of the big problems about a lot of web designers is they really don't understand marketing, and they don't understand how to get in the minds of the end user to write your website in a way that conveys a benefit to the end user. So content is something we're going to analyze as well when we put your website through this analysis. Marketing. This is really simple. Why have a website out there if you're not getting people to it? And marketing is really nowadays is more than just Google. Like a lot of people think, oh, I can do pay-per-click marketing with Google AdWords. In fact, most clients that I've come across that have websites often have done AdWords before, either on their own or maybe they've had a website company manage it for them. But know this, AdWords is very tricky. Chris and I, the other founder, we're certified AdWords professionals as well as certified with Microsoft Ad Center. And what I can tell you is that's all fine and dandy, but those two platforms aren't the only places to advertise. The other area is, are you utilizing social media? Or do you need to utilize social media? We come across a lot of clients that do social media because it's the hot thing right now. Problem is, social media might not be appropriate for you, or it may not be worth the time spent. Your time may be better spent somewhere else. My point to all this is we're going to analyze your marketing, we're going to look at what you're doing, and we're going to look at how your website is set up to do that marketing. I will tell you, 9 out of 10 clients that I deal with in small business arenas, their website is not designed for marketing at all. Finally, why should you do this analysis? Because it's free. Just do it. It always amazes me, people gloss over something like this and they think, oh yeah, I'll do this website analysis, but he's just trying to sell me on something. Of course I am. I'm in business. Like you, we're all trying to make money. But I am not going to tell you to change your website if I don't think it needs to be changed. I'm not in the business of doing for you what doesn't need to be done. Our biggest thing is to connect with people. And if we can connect with you by providing a free website analysis and show you how your website is performing across these 21 key points, if you're good, you're good. At the very least, you're going to walk away from this exchange and think, you know, those guys were professional, they were nice, they were honest, and you know what? Who knows? Maybe down the road if somebody asks you, hey, I need to do a website, who would you recommend? You can say, you know, I did my website a couple years ago and I'm happy with, you know, the job that my web designer did. But I talked to some guys the other day and, you know, I think if I did a website again, I think I would go with them. That's what I'm trying to create. I'm trying to get us out there so you can see what we do and offer our expertise on a free basis to build relationships. I know those relationships are going to lead to business ultimately in the long term for Viginti Media. So, fill in your name, your email address, your phone number, and your website address, and we'll contact you within the next 48 to 72 hours. The reason why it takes 2 to 3 days is we actually sit down and we go through your website and we put together a report for you that we're going to email to you, and then we'll contact you to discuss it and or to at least make sure that you've received the report that we've promised.